um, standing on the protocol established by our renowned big brother, Professor Sir, I am looking at my own from the angle of what are the lessons from the legacies of Sardaunan that could be useful to contemporary northern leaders. The premier, in his right, was visionary and selfless. He was a leader whose leadership was anchored on discipline, integrity, simplicity, honesty, and dedication, and above all, the fear of God. Where are we, northern leaders, in all these qualities that Sardaunan brought to the table in leading northern Nigeria? He was a detribalized leader who worked tirelessly to unite the diverse ethnic and religious groups of northern Nigeria. Sardaunan was very deliberate in ensuring that he never looked at you, whether you were a Hausaman or you were a Baggy man or whoever you were. He had looked at northern Nigeria as his own heritage, and he foresaw the need to bridge the gap that existed between northern Nigeria and the southern protectorate, as it were at that time. He wanted a situation where every northerner gets access to quality education, which brought about the establishment of various colleges, in fact, he was the founder of the veterinary school in Vom. This is somebody who is from Sokoto, but he went to Vom because he believes that Nigeria, or northern Nigeria, is one. Now, we need to learn from the political, economic, and social reforms that were initiated by late Sir Ahmadu Bello, who traversed northern Nigeria, playing significant roles in the journey to independence, and served as the founding leader of NPC. He also supported not just education, he also supported religious values, Islamic religious values, and never saw anybody as not wanted. Northern leaders of today should promote inclusivity like the Sardaunan did. They should promote selfless service to community, which was one of the very clear missions of Sir Ahmadu Bello. Because if we continue to say Sir Ahmadu Bello was this, he was this, he was that, what have we been able to learn from who he was? What is the deliberate attempt by current leaders of northern Nigeria to bring to life that which he left for all of us? To what extent are we ambassadors of this man who was father to the whole of northern Nigeria? By the time you pick 1, 2, 3 northern contemporary leaders, you begin to calculate estates, you begin to calculate wealth, personal wealth. But when you look at Sardaunan, he died and left an only uncompleted mud house. Hello? For somebody who was the premier of the whole of northern Nigeria. But now, by the time you check, you and I, especially those who we have given the mandate to lead us, and you begin to count the number of houses that they have in their names. In fact, you begin to count the number of private jets owned by people who are supposed to lead and serve us. Then you begin to ask, sorry, I'm not a historian, I am a sociologist. In fact, a criminologist. And that is why I am using a critical mind to look at these things that we have, these songs that we have been singing for the past 60 years since he passed. And I call upon our leaders to begin to rethink what to do. He left schools. Those schools were not his personal property. He created this company, but it was not created in his name. It was not his family property. It is a product, is a property of the whole of northern Nigeria. He embarked on the modernization and unification of education, advancements in the northern region. Now you will find people who will come and tell you that acquiring Western education is wrong, and begin to blackmail those of us who have chosen to acquire modern Western education, of moving away from an education that they think is what we need. And I begin to ask you and I, if you don't have the way with her, and they begin to make appointments that require some of these qualifications, to what extent will they be thinking of you, my brother and sister from northern Nigeria? What you do not have, you can never give. Let us do our best while elegizing Sir Ahmadu Bello to begin to create our own history, to begin to bring to life those legacies that this man lived and died for. Thank you for the privilege to speak.